unfortunately, it is too bright out right now to actually have moody lighting for these reviews. Which sucks, because they both deserve them. But, well, it is what it is. And by both, I mean one on this channel, one on the other channel. You're watching the one on the Animation Station. Yeah, I get an easy day. What's up, guys? Jack Small of Animation Station back into you all with another video, and I just got done watching Treehouse of Horror 8. Now, if you guys didn't see my last video, I hated Treehouse of Horror 7. It was the worst Treehouse of Horror I ever sat through so far for this series. But I am happy to report that Treehouse of Horror 8 is much better. This is a very good episode. We're back up to the over average category. I can't call it great, but I can call it much better than last time. So, I guess that really goes to show how much of a roller coaster ride that these segments are going to be. So, with that said, let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? So, first up, we have the opening, which this time is a censorship joke, which is actually pretty funny. And it actually starts leaning more and more into blood and gore. Nice to see. And then we get to the three segments. The first one's called the Homerage Man. I'm sorry, I forget its name, but it's a really good segment. It's about Springfield getting bombed by Kang and Kodos. And Homer apparently is the only one left alive. There's a lot of really nice dark humor jokes in here. And it turns out he's not the only one to survive, because there was also the main actual important characters like Flanders and Burns and all those guys that actually survived the blast and got mutated. And then they try to kill Homer. But then it also turns out his family also survived, which is a shame, because it was a really nice emotional moment where he cried over the death of his family, and he imagines them all swinging bats, which is hilarious. For Bart, it made sense, but for Lisa, Maggie, and Marge, no, that made no sense. But it's okay, because it was funny, so I don't mind it. And then it looks like they're all about to reconcile with the evil mutant people. And then all of the Simpsons family, aside from Homer, pulls out shotguns and kills them all. It's just a funny segment. It's not meant to be scary. It's meant to be darkly comedic. And it does a very good job at that. I especially also really love the bomb shelter joke at the start, where Homer's bomb shelter is just a cardboard box. Classic Homer humor. It's amazing. Then we move on to Fly vs. Fly, which is both a parody and a kind of homage to The Fly, both the vintage original film and the Cronenberg remake, where Bart... Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I got called on my brother to do something. Sorry about that. Where were we? Oh yeah, Fly vs. Fly. It's... Homer buys a teleporting machine for 35 cents. That's just a hilarious joke. That someone, that nerdy and brainy character that sells it to him, you think he'd sell it for more, considering the fact it's a literal teleporter. And Homer does it like you expect him to do it. He uses it so he doesn't have to reach down to... He doesn't have to go down the stairs. He doesn't have to open the fridge. And there's even a joke where he's like, I don't even need to go to the bathroom to take a piss. That's funny. And then Bart decides to use it, even though Homer specifically tells him not to. And he fuses Snowball and Santa's little helper together. And then he makes two of those. He gets one with both their heads and then both of their butts. And he's like, oh, that one's for Lisa. That's hilarious. But then he decides to merge himself with a fly. And what happens is he gets stuck with a fly's body, and a fly's head goes onto his body. Very reminiscent of things like Baxter Stockman from the Ninja Turtles cartoon, or again, the original Fly. How it was literally just a guy with a giant fly thing on his head. You know, mask. Big fly mask. And there's even a nice homage to that scene when Art tries to get rid of the imposter. And the Bartfly, as I'm going to call him, looks at him, and he has that multiple vision, which reminds me so much of that reveal scene from the original Fly, with the woman screaming, and it's from, like, many different little hexagonal visions and angles. It's very unique and interesting. And then, eventually, they get turned back, and that's pretty much that. Yeah, there's not really much else to say about that one. It's funny. Needless to say, it's very, very funny, and it is a very good segment. But it's not really... It's more on the B-movie horror side than actual horror. Then we get to the final segment, Easy Bake Coven. Nice name. It's about Marge being accused as a witch, but then turns out to be a witch, and they decide to go out and eat children along with her sisters Selma and Helga? I'm sorry, I forget the second sister's name, because I don't watch this show as much as most people. And I'm not entirely caught up either. I'm just watching Treehouse of Horror. So, but then Ned, out of a kind of a way of kindness and to save his kids' lives, he offers them gingerbread cookies and calls them ginger children, something like that. And it inadvertently turns into a sort of origin story for Halloween. And it's very unique. And I think it's a really interesting take on the Festival of Samhain and how it's translated into this more commercialized Halloween that we all know today. Very unique and very fun short. This whole episode is just fun, man. It's got some nice B-movie horror to it. It's got some really nice dark humor. And none of the segments were bad this time around. All of them were good, and all of them served a purpose, which is less than I could say for 2 and 7. But this is a huge improvement over the last one, and I'm compelled to give it an 8. Don't get me wrong, I'm compelled to give it an 8. But I can't call it great. It's not as good as, like, 3 or 4, which were amazing. Those ones were really, really good, and I loved them. But 8 is still really good. I'm going to give it a high verdict of an 8. Actually, no, not an 8. A 7 out of 10. The segments can always be better, but for what they are, they serve their purpose, and this episode definitely is some good old cheesy B-movie fun. Not only that, it barely has any blood in it at all, so you can watch it with your kids on Halloween. As long as you just hide their eyes during the actual bloody segments, which there are very little of. It's a very, very good episode, but I can't call it quite great. And I'm hoping Treehouse of Horror 9 is even better. But that's not until tomorrow, so until then, thank you guys for watching, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned as Halloween X2 continues. So until then, Jack Small of Animation Station signing out. Have a spooktacular day, and I'll see you next time.